joint discussions of sexual orientation in schools.
The bill, dubbed the Don't Say Gay Bill by LGBTQ advocates, says schools may not encourage classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in primary grade levels or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students. Here today is Sam Ames, Director of Advocacy and Government Affairs for the Trevor Project, which focuses on suicide prevention efforts among LGBTQ youth. Good morning, sir. Tell us more about this law and what its aim is to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, thank you so much for having me. Good morning. I hope you are doing well. Here's what's going on. Last Thursday, the Florida House Education and Employment Committee passed yet another anti-LGBTQ bill. This one is HB 1557 and SB 1834, or what is being called by many the Don't Say Gay Bill. What it would do is essentially ban any classroom discussion in schools that touch on sexual orientation or gender identity, erasing a huge swath of LGBTQ identity and history and culture, but most importantly, LGBTQ students themselves. The bill, I want to say, also goes further in a way that's been discussed a little less, but is really dangerous. The text has provisions that not only undermine that support in schools, but include these vague parental notification requirements. We've seen these before, and what they can do is effectively require a teacher or guidance counselor or some school staff member who a student feels safe with to come out to then turn around and out them to their legal guardians, which at best is an invasion of privacy, but at worst, in situations where for any number of reasons a home life may not be safe or supportive, it can be very, very dangerous.
And to kind of go along with what you were just saying there, I mean, a lot of times kids, for school is almost their safe space with their friends who may know things about them that their parents do not. And so that could be really problematic, and I could see that. I want to focus, though, on something that's on the website, the TrevorProject.org, to talk about why this is so important. Suicide is the second leading cause of death among young people, with LGBTQ youth being 4 times more likely to seriously consider suicide, to make a plan for suicide, and to attempt suicide versus their peers. Is that what you see happening, that number growing even more if something like this gets passed?
I'll say this. The Trevor Project's 2021 National Survey on LGBTQ mental health found that more than 42% of LGBTQ youth have seriously considered attempting suicide in the past year, including more than half of transgender and non-binary youth. If you're talking to a young trans or non-binary person, there's around a 20% chance they have made an actual attempt on their life in the last year. And this legislation itself is having an enormous impact. According to a recent poll by Morning Consult on behalf of the Trevor Project, 85% of transgender and non-binary youth and 2/3 of all LGBTQ youth say that just these debates themselves and the rhetoric around them about this wave of state laws trying to regulate who they are and what they say have negatively impacted their mental health. And there is one number that really gets me on this one. When asked about just how this public debate between grown and powerful lawmakers is impacting them, 1 in 3 of these youth used the word scared. We are talking about the most vulnerable youth that we have being made more vulnerable. We know this is going to risk lives. Lawmakers know this is going to risk lives. They are doing this with that knowledge, which is how we know this has nothing to do with these young people and everything to do with these lawmakers.
Sponsor of the bill, Representative Joe Harding, says, quote, "It will reinforce the fundamental right of parents to make decisions regarding upbringing and control of their children." What's your reaction to that statement?
I mean, it is so vague. It is so ambiguous. This bill, what we do know, is going to erase young LGBTQ students across Florida. It's going to force many back into the closet by policing their identity and silencing these discussions. But it also isn't clear what this means for the curriculum. Does it mean they can't talk about Pride Month while they're in it, about Stonewall? There are famous figures like Harvey Milk, who's right here behind me, and Marsha P. Johnson, who have entire days named after them. Even Pete Buttigieg, who's making history on their news screen every night in real time. It's unclear how exactly this is supposed to handle those things that are happening in youth's lives every day, regardless of whether we're talking about them. Not talking about them just sends the message that they are wrong. And by they, I mean the youth themselves.
We heard from Chasten Buttigieg before this segment started. How has his involvement kind of opened up this conversation, and what is the reaction from the LGBTQ community as far as he goes?
Yeah. I mean, it is huge to have somebody in that kind of public spotlight who can not just talk about these issues, but be an example to kids about how it is possible to survive some of these things. I don't think that there are many people out there who are put under more of a microscope than a presidential candidate and his family. And being able to show these youth that there is a way to get through this, even if this law passes, that there is a way to get through this, that there are, most importantly, people fighting for them, people fighting for their lives.
Okay, Sam Ames from the Trevor Project, thanks for being here today.
Thanks so much for having me.